Happy Halloween, everybody. Welcome back to the MetaStellar YouTube channel, where we tell you about the top three best-selling science fiction and fantasy books today on Amazon. See if some fun stuff to read this holiday weekend. I'm the editor here at MetaStellar, and with me today are E.S. Foster and Regina King. Emma is our anthology editor, and Regina
Clark.
Clark. I was thinking Stephen King, Halloween. Anyway.
There you go.
And we have Regina Clark, one of the newest members of our writing community. And Lilibet Dominguez Torres helped out with the reviews, but she couldn't be here today. So today is October 31st, and today's list has dark fantasy and time travel and an alien invasion. And two of the authors on today's list are USA Today bestselling authors. So the way this works is we read the first three chapters of each of the books on top of Amazon's free sci-fi and fantasy bestseller list. Yes, they have a free list of bestsellers in science fiction and fantasy that are all free. And this list changes constantly. Publishers make their books free for a couple of days to, drum up interest in the other books in a series, and then the books stop being free. This is why you have to act quick to grab the books while they're still free. And this is also why we don't read the whole book, because there's no time. We have to get the reviews out to you right away while the books are still available at no cost. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss any of these videos and any of the free books. And there's also a newsletter you can subscribe to as well. And now let's get to the books. We're going to start with book number 5 and count down to book number 1. All right, let's make it a little bit bigger so you guys can see this one. All right, so this is Frostforge by Morgan Rice, the first of 8 books in the Frostforge romantic series by a USA Today bestselling author. The other books are $4 to $5 each, and they're not in Kindle Unlimited. And Emma read this book for us. Emma, what did you think of this?
I was really excited because this is personally one of my favorite Free Friday authors. I really enjoy reading Morgan Rice's work. And this one also had some elements of like a magic school, kind of reminiscent of like Harry Potter, or even further than that, like a Wizard of Earthsea. So the review is we delve into this world where pretty much everyone exhibits a different type of magic. The main character is Thalia. She can manipulate plants, and she lives with her mother and younger sister, and she works in an herb shop. She wakes up one morning and she tries to go about her day like normal, but she can't really focus because there is a selection of some kind that's going to take place. That means that recruiters are going to come along into the town square and they're going to take all of the young people who will become students at Frostforge, which is a school of magic. We get some background sprinkled throughout, including how the land has experienced very warm winters for the past several years, so it's kind of like climate change going on. And the school trains its recruits in frost and ice magic so that it can benefit the lands and bring cooler winters. And it's also mentioned that the students are trained to fight against a neighboring enemy country. Thalia's mother, she hopes to use her savings that she's built up over the years to bribe their way out. Hopefully she can just say like, hey, you just take this money so that my daughter doesn't have to go to the school, because it's a very cutthroat type of place where not a lot of recruits make it out alive. So that though they're there and they're getting like the recruits show up and all the names are being written out, but even though her mother goes up to them and tries to offer them money, Thalia realizes that even like after her name is called, that her mom's not going to be able to have enough money to pay for her younger sister not to go if she's busy paying for her. So she's not going to be able to raise enough money in time. So even though her name has been called, she says, Mom, just keep the money, and she prepares to head on a ship to the school. Thalia is taken aboard the ship with several other people her age, and they're mostly like poorer citizens. There are some richer ones, so it hints like there's going to be some rivalry going on there. And she also meets a girl named Luna who seems more optimistic about her circumstances. But as they get there to the school, like a few of the guards whisper behind the students' backs that half of them probably aren't going to make it. But Thalia is trying to remain calm as she reaches these icy shores of Frostforge. So I absolutely love this beginning. It had the perfect pace and also had lots of amazing descriptions. I really enjoyed the world and the way I was able to experience all of it. So I am definitely going to keep reading, and I recommend it as a good introduction to this author in particular.
All right, thanks. It sounds like a bit of a cross between the Hunger Games and Harry Potter. Like if half the
Kinda.
kids are going to get killed.
It kind of reminded me of Fourth Wing a little bit as well, because that one's also like a school where a lot of the kids likely die from how cutthroat it is.
Oh, okay. So we have another dark fantasy next. Um, let me make that a little bit bigger for you guys. And I both liked this one and didn't like it, and I'll tell you why. So this is Black and Blue Widow by Rhiannon Rollness. And it's a romantic novel, and it's the author's first time on our list. And I didn't see any other books that the author had written, but this book is really good. So it's billed as the female version of Dexter. And yes, that is the vibe that I had. So the book opens with a wedding night, and we're in the point of view of a woman named Luella, and she thinks that this isn't her worst wedding night. It's pretty mediocre. Apparently, she's had a lot of wedding nights, and she says it's so mediocre that she might not even remember it later. But right now, her new husband's very angry, and she could tell because he's got his fingers around her throat, and he's choking her to death. As she's thinking, this is a pretty mediocre wedding night. So anyway, the reason he's choking her is because, first of all, he's a really bad guy and he really abuses a lot of people, but also because she's poisoned him and he feels the poison and he's trying to get her to tell him what she did to him. And the poison is slowly kicking in, but she doesn't want to wait. So she pulls out a knife and slashes his throat. And then she's like, okay, it's going to get messy. So she gets out of her dress. She smashes her own head against the wall. She ties his belt around her own throat. She rips her dress apart. She bites her lip. She crawls on the floor where there's a glass broken from a broken vase. And then she herself takes some poison and passes out. And then we switch to the point of view of a totally different, unrelated character named Rose. She's going to turn 20 in 20 days, and she has to get married by the time she's 20 for some reason. And this is set in like an ancient Rome style of fantasy world. And she has to get married, but she doesn't have a dowry. Nobody wants her except for one handsome guy who shows up, and he's about her own age, and they banter and they hit it off. And she's like, oh, this is so cool. You know, I wouldn't mind being married to him, not like all these other gross old guys hitting on me. Then we switch back to Luella. She wakes up because somebody's screaming, and it's a servant girl who found her. And so the servant girl screams, bring in the guards. And Luella is crying, which is easy because everything hurts because she's just been crawling through glass and stuff. And she pretends she doesn't know what's going on. She asks the guards what happened, and they can guess because they know that this guy, who's her new husband, was a really, really bad guy. And so instead of bringing her up on charges for murder, they kind of like, you know, usher her out and tell her to like run away. And so as she's running away out through the house, the fields, like everyone's kind of looking the other way. Apparently this happens a lot, that like injured women are running away from there. So I guess the guy deserved what he got. And so she goes home, she goes to her house, she has a good bath, she makes some tea. A friend comes over. The friend complained that she took too long. And this friend's got some magical powers and heals all of Luella's wounds. And this friend Mia wants Luella to retire. It's enough. She's had enough of killing people. She should become Mia's apprentice instead, because Mia needs a new apprentice. But Luella has her sights set on one more bad guy she wants to kill. A really, really powerful guy that's really hard to get close to him. And there's no pattern in the kind of women he picks. Also, we learned that Luella also has some magic. She can change her shape and appearance. And so then we go back to Rose. It's 2 days later. She still hasn't heard back from the handsome guy. So she and her sister are gonna go out and try to see if they can, scrounge her up her husband. And they're gonna go to this festival. But their father comes home before they leave, and he's a bit of an abusive monster. He calls Rose a whore and threatens to sell her to the Sabines, whoever they are. I think they're part of like Roman history or something, but I don't remember. Anyway, we go back to Luella. She's using her magic to change her face and body, and she's collected a bunch of information on this target. And then she goes on the hunt, and we see how she like gets this guy's attention and how she's really clever and really subtle about it. So, okay, so I love the setting. I love Luella. I love the book. I love the writing. I love the ancient Rome kind of thing. I love the magic. I love the way Luella is really protective of the innocent people in the city and that she meets. But it's a really scary, tense book. So like you're always thinking she's about to get caught. Is she about to get caught? Like I told it like to you in a kind of a light way, but it's there's some tension in there. It's very matter of fact. It's not funny. It's kind of serious. It does definitely have a Dexter kind of vibe. So I can see where the book description got it. And I could not get through Dexter. I was creeped out by Dexter. And so reading this book, I was always like on the edge, like what's going to happen? Is she going to get caught? What's going to, and that's like too much for me. So it's too scary for me, but it's Halloween and it is a great book. It's very readable. I'm very surprised the author doesn't have a ton of other books on Amazon, but I couldn't find anything. So if it's a debut novel, it is an excellent debut novel. I can see why it's near the top of this bestseller list, and I highly recommend it if you like, like this female serial killer killing bad guys kind of premise. And who doesn't, right? Who doesn't? All right, let's go on to book number 3 on today's list. This is A Forest of Vanity and Valour by A.P. Beswick, and it's the first of 6 books in the Levanthria, a dark fantasy horror kind of series. The other books are $3 to $5 each, and they are all in Kindle Unlimited. I should probably tell you what Kindle Unlimited is if you don't know. It's where you pay $12 a month and you read all the books you want, as long as those books are in Kindle Unlimited. It's kind of a Netflix for books. For people who read a lot, like me, it is a fantastic deal. I probably read hundreds of books a year, and Kindle Unlimited means that I don't, go around naked in a barrel, instead of wearing clothes because I'm broke. Anyway, Lilibet Dominguez Torres read this for us, but she's not here today. So, Emma, what did Lilibet think of this book?
Right, so as you mentioned, it's set in a fantasy world.
Oh, I think we just lost you, Emma.
You muted me.
Oh, that was not intentional. I'm so sorry.
I'll start over. Okay. So, set in the fantasy world known as Levanthria, this is the story of a debt collector named Virio. And during the first few chapters of the story that Lilibet read, we get a small glimpse into his life and the world he lives in. He is a debt collector to the crown, and he and his comrades are going and they're watching what looks to be like an abandoned house for their next target. They just want to collect their money, but after 3 hours of hiding in the shadows and doing nothing, Virio is growing restless and he starts complaining until a hooded figure enters the house. Without missing a beat, they kick the door down. The moment the hooded figure doesn't respond, come face to face with what happens to be a desperate mage. So a fight breaks out between them, and the mage is successfully knocked out. The point of view then switches to Jareb, who is the current ruler of Levanthria. So we switch POVs here. The chapters are actually short and quick, according to Lilibet. So it's not clear if Jareb is like the king of Levanthria or if he's the son in charge while his father is at war. But she said the story sounds very interesting because we discovered that Levanthria is a kingdom where magic has been banished and mages have been hunted down ever since and forced into slavery. This itself makes Virio's altercation with the mage in the previous chapter more interesting, according to Lilibet. and it creates a great hook that leaves you wanting to know more about what's going to happen next. So she said the pacing of the story, it seems like it's kind of fast in the beginning. It kind of makes things a little confusing. But she says that she really enjoys fantasy worlds where magic is forbidden, so she's definitely going to add it to her to-be-read list later.
All right. And next we have something completely different. And let me make that a little bit bigger for you guys, because it's a science fiction book. And it's the first of three, Arrival by Jasper T. Scott. It's the first of three books in the Chiron Invasion, a science fiction thriller series by a USA Today bestselling author. We get some great books on these Free Friday lists. These are not like books that nobody wants to read, so they make them free. These are books by big name bestselling authors. Anyway, the other books are $1 each, but they are all in Kindle Unlimited. And Regina read this book for us. And Regina, what did you think of it?
To summarize, it's the year 2150 AD. Bots do most of the work, but not all. And Chris Randall has a real job as a human bodyguard for an ultra-rich California family until they fire him. He's been replaced by robots, which is happening everywhere. As he drives home, his car being one of the few internal combustion vehicles left, he's consumed by worry about what he'll tell his wife and family. Suddenly, explosions erupt, blinding flashes in the sky, and the continuous sound of thunder. Only it isn't thunder. It's a fleet of starfighters approaching, releasing their firepower and dropping bombs. Earth is being invaded. LA is nuked. Where can he go? He's filled the car with supplies that would last the family a good while, but not if there's no place to run. There's nothing missing from this story as an example of popular science fiction. There's first contact, genetic engineering, post-apocalyptic events, alien invasion, space drama, though most of all of that occurs after the chapters I read. The plan of the aliens is apparently to create hybrid humans for a galactic war, and that's the humans they don't eat, that is. In the first two chapters and most of the third, what comes across, however, is an almost mundane atmosphere in the face of all of this impending disaster. Chris's thoughts and actions would as easily figure in the story of a family escaping a threat in an all too familiar thriller scenario, trying to stay one step ahead of a contract killer or hide from someone out for revenge. It even resembles actions by someone in witness protection that we'd find familiar, being tracked by bad guys. It just didn't have the doomsday vibe you'd expect with all of those sci-fi elements. No sense of genuine panic at an alien invasion. His wife felt some of it, but not the main character. The story at this point doesn't convey the suspense that would add atmosphere either. The fact that he was driving a non-electric car in 2150 AD didn't help, but that pulled me right out of the story as I wondered why he wanted such a relic. The book covers the first 4 days of an alien invasion of near-future Earth. A great premise. The upshot is I couldn't relate to the main character. The plot was interesting, but he didn't, in his behavior, didn't draw any emotional response from me. As a result, I was more interested in what the aliens would do next than what the Earthling was thinking. All that said, the book and its sequels have a large and active fan base, and the book ranks high on Amazon. What do I know?
I'm with you about the electric car. 2150. He's about 100 years too late. Also, security bots. We already have security robots, right? But the thing is, having a human security guard is kind of a status symbol. So the fact that humans are being replaced by robots 100 years in the future, as opposed to like, no, it's already happening. 100 years from now, it will all been shaken out. They wouldn't still be in the process of replacing, Anyway, yeah. So I'm with you on the timeline, but maybe there's more alien drama later on. So it's free. Check it out. Let us know if you like it in the comments. before we go on to book number 1 on today's list, which is a time travel book that takes you back to the 1980s, I want to thank our Patreon supporters. And let me make this a little bit bigger for you guys so you can see them. And our newest supporter is W.M. Frenzel. And I made this a little bit too dark, but they're in there. They're all in there. So MetaStellar, we publish original science fiction reprints, excerpts. We publish reviews, so much stuff. We publish like thousands of articles over the past 5 years by several hundred authors. I forget the last count, but we've done a lot. Million page views. And we have around 100 volunteers making all this happen. All of us here work for free, including Emma, who produced our anthology this past year. And everybody who worked on the anthology, we had an army of copy editors working on it. Everybody works for free. All the money that's donated goes to pay for original fiction by real human authors. And to celebrate that, and in time for the holiday season, I have a treat for you guys that's new today. So this just came in the mail. I haven't looked at it yet closely. It is our Humans Are Magic mug. Look at that. Look at that. So it comes in different inside colors. And I picked the blue so it matched the Humans Are Magic. So if you are in favor of, okay, and there's a little green alien right here, but a little green frog, but you can't see him because of the green. Let me turn off the virtual background so you can see him. Come on, turn off. There you go. See, he's like, come on. See, he's a little green guy.
Yeah.
Isn't he cute? Anyway, so let me turn that back on. And now he's gonna disappear because I have a green screen. Okay, so and these mugs are brand new on our Cafe Press site. I'll link to them down below. And I ordered them in several sizes. So I'm going to show you what the other size looks like. And again, I haven't looked at this yet. It is something I just got in the mail. And this is a smaller mug. So we have a bigger one and a smaller one. Look how cute they are. Look how cute they are. And this one also has a little green frog there. And I think I ordered like one more different type of them. Now these are from a comic that one of our writers, volunteers, and artists does. Her name is Nat Couture, and she has a weekly comic called Spell Check that we publish on MetaStellar. This looks like another one in the same cup. I guess I'm giving this away as presents this year. And so she did this for us as a way to raise money for MetaStellar. And again, all the proceeds go to pay for original fiction. I guess I ordered 3 of those cups. Okay, I ordered 3 identical cups from Cafe Press. So, yeah, if you'd like to pick one up, you can head over to our Cafe Press shop. We also have MetaStellar mugs and t-shirts and tote bags. Okay, so we also have anthologies. I mentioned that we just published Year 4 anthology. We also have 3 other years that are out. We're just starting on Year 5, getting that produced. And we also have a book out. We published and serialized our first novel, Gods and Monsters by E.E. King. It's available for free on our website. So you don't have to buy it. You can read it for free on our website. And the author herself has read the entire book, chapter by chapter, for our YouTube channel. And it's up there. It is a fantastic book. It is on the reading list for next year's Nebula Awards. It's so good. I mean, she's an award-winning author. She's fantastic, very literary, a very thoughtful book, but moves fast. I read this and I can't recommend it highly enough. And so we also serialized RENNA'S Crossing by Geordie Morse, also available on the website. Also, he read it for us on our YouTube channel. And I also want to mention that Regina Clark has books up on Amazon. Emma Foster is a book coach. She's in the UK right now working on her PhD in creative writing. So she's been an editor at MetaStellar for quite a while now. Highly recommend it. Oh, and she's just taken over our writing advice column of the week. And the first one should be going up this Sunday. And that should have a video associated with that too. A lot of stuff happening in MetaStellar. And I have books up, and I'm currently rewriting all of them. There's like three novellas up on Amazon, 10 books that I finished. And I'm just getting my butt in gear, and Emma's helping me out as well, and as is Regina. We have a morning drop-in meeting every single day, and we have a drop-in on Saturday for our supporters. So yeah, become part of the MetaStellar family. We are doing so much, and there's just so much going on, and we're really trying to connect authors with readers, real human authors with real human readers. That is our goal here. Okay, so let's go on to book number 1 on today's list that you've been waiting for. It's a time travel book. It's called 1980, A Year in the Life of Keith Diamond. It's by Jason Ayres, and it's the first of 6 books in the Year in the Life Time Travel Adventure series. The other books are $1 to $4 each, and they are all in Kindle Unlimited. And W.M. Frenzel read this for us, but he couldn't make it today, so Emma is reading it. And Emma, what did he think of this book?
Well, he starts out with a question. He says, what would you do if you were reading a story that was basically a Christmas Carol, but with time travel instead of ghosts? Because apparently that's what this book seems to be like. William says that, on a positive note, the actual time travel device, which is a watch with some kind of sentience, is a pretty interesting and unique concept that he doesn't think he's seen before. So this watch is going to send Keith, who is the main character, back in time to 1980 to live there for a year. Maybe he might change some events. Maybe he needs to make sure certain events happen. We don't know yet. Big problem that William has with this character, Keith, is that he's pretty unlikable. He's kind of like one of those people who says mildly shocking things on air, like rallying against the woke and all that. He's kind of right-wing, and he alludes to other savory things that he may or may not actually agree with. And it's probably for the best that Keith is being sent on this adventure because he's kind of like a really unlikable person. And it's clearly purposeful in a way that's successful, according to William, but it makes it so that you don't want to root for him at all. Even when he gets fired by a woman from his past, he is repugnant. It doesn't feel good to see him get fired because his boss is kind of like a caricature of over-the-top ham-fisted feminism, according to William. So she's very intense, and again, it doesn't land for him. He also says that the book is extremely British because it's it begins in 2019, even though it goes back to 1980. But it also feels weirdly dated because there's references to like Brexit and stuff, so if you're from the States, it probably is not going to hit the same way. But he says if you like stories where repulsive right-leaning men learn a lesson and enjoy politics and Britishness, this book might be up your alley, but William's not going to continue with it.
Yeah, I guess the nice thing about the Christmas Carol is that it's short, so you don't have to spend too much time in Ebenezer Scrooge's head. You're mostly seeing him like get punished, but as a full-length novel, especially the series, because this guy in the future books he goes back to like 1981 and 1982, and so forth. So it might be interesting to see the evolution of a character, and that could be cathartic for some people, given the conditions of the world today. All right, let us know in the comments what you think about that. Okay, let us know if there's other books you want us to read, because we do other book reviews besides the Free Fridays. We publish book reviews every Saturday. And we also published roundup of short stories. We had one about the scariest stories from MetaStellar, that went up this week. So check that out. So yeah, a lot of stuff happening. Let us know in the comments about what you thought of today's books. And I hope you guys have a great Halloween. I feel so bad because I forgot that I now live in an area that has trick-or-treaters. I used to live in a house in the middle of nowhere for 30 years. Nobody ever came to my house. And now I live in a place with lots of kids. And I forgot. I just didn't click. And just before this taping began, a bunch of kids knocked on my door, and I was like, "Oh no, I forgot to get candy. I'm so sad." So I apologize to everybody watching if you came to my door and you didn't get candy. It's all on me. I hope you guys have a great weekend and enjoy your free books. Thanks, Emma. Thanks,
Happy
Regina.
Halloween.
I love those orange lights. They're so great. This is the closest thing I had to orange.
I'm wearing black. It's close enough.
That worked.
Black is perfect. All right, bye-bye, everybody. I will see some of you guys tomorrow because we have the drop-in thing for our patrons and supporters. And yeah, bye, everybody. Happy Halloween.
Bye-bye.